Chapter 11. Makenna expected the stop at the insurance company to be routine, but as she parked the cruiser, a call came through on her radio from dispatch. "Captain Drake, we have a report of a woman acting erratic in the Harrington Insurance Building." Makenna exchanged a startled glance with Bubba. "Harrington Insurance? Are you sure?" "Yes, ma'am. The call just came in. Should I send Lieutenant Brewer or Officer Cook?" "No need. I'm here at the building with Matt Fisher. We'll check it out." She clicked the radio off and glanced at Bubba again. Though he wasn't a cop, firefighters were also trained to deal with situations like this, and his hulking presence certainly wouldn't hurt in de-escalating the situation. "Feel up to this?" "Whatever I can do." Makenna nodded and opened her door. As she stepped out of the car, she could hear what sounded like screaming coming from inside the building. She shot Bubba a concerned glance as her hand touched the butt of her gun. She led the way up the walkway and pulled the door open. A harried-looking receptionist glanced up at them and motioned them to continue. A glass door separated the reception area from the office area, but the screaming was audible even before Makenna opened the door. "Where is it? I just want what he owed me." An edge of hysteria filled the shrill voice. As Makenna opened the door, a blonde woman came into view. She held a knife in her hand and was whirling around with it whenever anyone came too close to her. "Ma'am, I need you to drop the knife," Makenna said as she stepped closer. The woman turned wide, frantic eyes on her. "Not until I get what he owed me. They know where it is, but they won't tell me." "Okay, so how about you tell me? Who owes you, and what does he owe you?" Makenna scanned the area as she stepped closer to the woman. Most of the employees were cowering in fear, but she never knew when one might decide to be a hero and send the situation careening downhill. "Money! He owes me money. I filed a claim when my house was broken into a month ago, and he's been sitting on my claim. I need that money to fix my house." Her hand trembled, sending the knife wavering like a shiny, floating ripple. "All right, I hear you. Why don't you put the knife down and tell me who your agent was?" Makenna held her hand out as she took another step closer to the woman. From the corner of her eye, she saw Bubba move off to her right, and she knew he was placing himself behind the woman. "Dustin Cox was my agent, and I know he has my checks somewhere in his desk, but they won't let me look." She pointed the knife at a balding man in a suit, who Makenna deduced to be the boss. "I just want my money." "Ma'am, I'm sorry you didn't get the money owed to you, but I'm here now. I'm Captain Makenna Drake, and I can get them to help you if you just put your knife down." The woman's eyes twitched as if she wasn't sure she believed Makenna's words. But after a moment, her hand opened, and the knife clattered to the floor. Makenna rushed in and snapped the cuffs on the woman. "What are you doing?" the woman asked. "I thought you were going to help me." "I am, but I also need to ask you a few questions, and I need to make sure you aren't going to harm anyone until I can do that, okay?" Makenna motioned Bubba to come forward and take the woman's arms. At the sight of him, the woman stopped struggling and dropped her eyes to the floor, but not before Makenna saw the sheen of unshed tears. Makenna picked up the knife and turned to the balding man. Is there truth to her words? Did Dustin Cox have her check? "I don't know," the man said. "I'll have to look into it, but I can tell you that Dustin was on our radar for insurance fraud. She's not the first one to claim that money owed was never received." "Okay, I'm going to need you to investigate as quickly as you can, and then I want all the cases he was working on." Makenna felt her suspect pool growing. If this woman was angry enough to come in with a knife, could she have been angry enough to light his house on fire? Could any of his other victims? The man nodded. "I'll compile them myself and send them over this afternoon." "Great, thank you." She glanced over at the sniffing woman who no longer appeared a threat to anyone. "Do you want to press charges?" The man's lips pinched together for a moment. "Not if she's right. If it turns out Dustin was stealing her money, then let her go." Makenna nodded and picked up the knife. She handed it, handle first, to Bubba, as she took the woman's arm. "What's your name, ma'am?" The woman lifted a splotchy, tear-stained and defeated face. "Chloe. I wasn't really going to hurt anyone. I just need the money." "Okay, Chloe, I understand that, but brandishing a knife is not the best way to go about getting what you want. I'm going to take you to the station and ask you some questions, but we'll figure it all out." Chloe nodded, but she said nothing more as Makenna led her out to the car. A sigh escaped Makenna's lips as she closed the door after securing Chloe in the back seat. "Do you always see this much action?" Bubba asked with a teasing smile. He was obviously trying to ease the tension of the situation. She smiled and shook her head. "No, it's usually pretty sleepy around here, but these murders have everyone acting crazy, and this admission just opens up a whole new bunch of suspects. Well, I don't know what I can do to help, but I'm here. Whatever you need." His last 3 words stirred something in Makenna's heart, and she sneaked a glance at him. She knew he was talking about helping with the case, so why did it feel as if some other innuendo existed in those words? As he held her gaze, she felt something between them shift. She cleared her throat and tore her eyes away from his penetrating stare. "Thank you. I'll question her if you want to grab some lunch, and then maybe we can begin looking into other victims of Dustin Cox's." "I'd be happy to. Would you like me to pick up something for you?" "A sandwich would be great," she said as her stomach rumbled at the thought. "You got it." The smile he sent her direction caused her heart to skip a beat, and she shook her head to bring it out of the clouds and back to the case at hand. She could daydream later, when her town was safe again.